Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Susan Trent, CEO at Atlantic Therapeutics. Susan has enjoyed a 20-year career in GSK Pharmaceuticals and consumer healthcare with international experience in the UK, Latin America, Japan, Asia, and the US. She's held multiple roles and has worked in both operational and above country level. She is adept at delivering the results in diverse environments through strong relationship building. Her particular area of focus has been in building brands and ones that leverage strong science to meet a clear unmet consumer need. Susan, we'll toss it over to you.
Thank you very much, Lena, and apologies if you can see and hear a bit of background noise. I'm actually at Los Angeles Airport. It feels very unusual to be traveling again, but also very good to be back out there. I have a short case study for you about our brand Innovo and really the way we've approached FemTech from a very different point of view. And that is to set the context, really. I'm sure we're all very aware that a lot of the conditions that we serve as FemTech brands are often dealing with a stigmatized condition, a rather personal health issue. And I think we all know as well that often women are just quite accepting, or they just learn to deal with a number of the medical conditions that we serve as somehow a fact of life. We think about conditions related to menopause, postpartum conditions, gynecological conditions, etc. And that is also often driven by the fact that they're not very well served by healthcare professionals. And often these conditions are positioned as something that is really a consequence of the female experience. And in our context at Atlantic Therapeutics, we think particularly about incontinence, bladder leaks, stress urinary incontinence. And I think we all know women who will say, oh, don't make me laugh, I may pee a little bit. Women just learn to deal with some of the conditions that we serve. So when we had this opportunity to launch our brand Innovo, which is an FDA-cleared treatment for stress urinary incontinence, we deliberately chose a path that would give us an opportunity to give this to women very directly. So we pursued a direct-to-consumer path with this, and that's what I want to just explore a little bit with you today in the 10 minutes that we have, just to explain why we made that decision, how we brought the brand to life, why we believe giving consumers direct access to the self-care that will help them with some of these conditions that they don't address with their healthcare professionals is the path, obviously, both to commercial success for us, but the path to much better outcomes for women. So let me run through a few charts that will illustrate that for you. And as Lena mentioned, my background was GlaxoSmithKline. And as you know, Glaxo in the middle of separating out their pharmaceutical and consumer businesses. But the way that we would come at some of these brands was when they came to the end of their natural patent life as a pharmaceutical, we had this opportunity to give them sort of immortality in the consumer space. So my background was always marry the very strong science of a pharmaceutical or medical device product, but bring it to life with a very compelling consumer proposition. And that's exactly what we've done with our Innovo. First of all, a little bit about the science and what Innovo is and does. So as you'll see top right, this boils this down to the consumer proposition that we're offering. All women know, and it's the 1 in 3 women, by the way, who suffer from some form of bladder leaks. All women know that if you suffer from this involuntary bladder leak when you cough or you sneeze or you laugh, you're supposed to be doing Kegel exercises to strengthen your pelvic floor. But about 50% of women can't do a Kegel exercise. Their pelvic floor muscles are so weakened that they can't actually volitionally contract those muscles. And even if they're doing them, they don't know if they're doing them correctly, or they don't know if they're doing them sufficiently. So really, consumers understand that this proposition that we know Kegels are hard, Innovo does your Kegels for you, but we have this clinical proof that Innovo will actually eliminate the bladder leaks if they follow a treatment for 12 weeks. So a little bit about the brand itself. As I said, top right, you can see this is a summation, if you like, of our proposition. We're doing Kegel exercises for women through this very unique, very relatable technology. The best thing about the technology is it is non-invasive. So essentially, it looks like you're putting on a pair of exercise shorts. So again, finding this balance between this is a serious medical device, however, it's something that a woman can think of as an exercise intervention is very important. I think we'd all recognize as well, brands that are offering a solution to a need that is very self-diagnosable, like something like stress urinary incontinence, are absolutely perfect for this approach. Anything that does need a doctor intervention, of course, a doctor plays a very important role there. But if you have a condition that is self-diagnosable and a treatment that is incredibly easy to relate to, then this is a very good opportunity. So this very non-invasive, looks like a pair of cycling shorts. It has very clever technology embedded, which are ink-printed electrodes that deliver neuromuscular electrical stimulation right across the pelvic floor. Now, when we submitted this to the FDA, we had to go through a de novo approval because this is a very unique technology. We did a 480 patient clinical study, and we got really, really strong clinicals that back these claims we made to consumers, which is essentially follow this 12-week program, 30 minutes a day for the 12 weeks. And around 87% of women were dry and free from this rather debilitating condition of worrying about bladder leaks, free from using pads and liners and disposable underwear on a daily basis. So a really strong and compelling proposition, but backed by real science. And what is the potential commercial opportunity, and who do we consider to be in our competitive set, if you like, in this particular category? Frankly, it is the likes of P&G and Kimberly-Clark, etc. It is the pads and liners company, where women are spending around $9.5 billion every year protecting themselves against this issue rather than getting to the root cause and solving. And there is also an interesting value proposition to the consumer that the Innovo device costs around $450. However, consumers are spending far more than that on an ongoing basis in terms of using protection. So it's important as well that you have a strong value proposition to communicate. The market is enormous, frankly. We know around 1 in 3 women suffer from some form of bladder leaks, and we know that just a 5% market penetration would be a huge revenue opportunity for us. But as a small startup, clearly, we're starting quite realistically, and we're delivering this solution to women solely through our e-commerce channel. And that is also very important as well, I think, for businesses like ours, smaller startup brands. You know, we need to start in a very virtual, very cost-effective way. So we've chosen this e-commerce solution. It is how women are researching and consuming their healthcare needs much more broadly. So it has proven to be really the right kind of channel to engage women in the conversation about bladder leaks. We have kind of pillars, if you like, on how to bring the brand to life. And the most important thing is that we have a very credible and very authentic tone of voice. We have to, as I've said, manage this fine line between a serious medical device and a consumer product. And having this very authentic, credible tone of voice backed up by experts is very important. Clearly, we're a very disruptive brand. We're going up against some very big brands. So it's important that we can interrupt the conversation that's already going on. We have this great value proposition. Most importantly, we can help educate women and they can understand more about what is causing the condition, what is the underlying issue that they have that's causing the condition, and what can we do about it. And then just a few snippets on how we brought that to life. Well, first of all, I always love showing enormous growth charts, but we have seen enormous growth in our business since we've switched to this direct-to-consumer model. So we know this is a way women really want to engage in this particular solution in the category. Most important as well is, can we do this on an efficient cost basis? So what we've seen over time is we invested very heavily in building brand awareness to start with amongst consumers. And over time, we're seeing that cost per acquisition per consumer coming down. Very important, of course, that we reach a point where we've got a very efficient model in terms of recruiting consumers into the brand. But ultimately, as I said, it does start with having a very trusted voice, helping women understand what the condition is. And in our case, that happened to be one of the inventors of our brand, Dr. Ruth Maher. She is a very renowned physical therapist in the US. She's Irish by origin. But getting this message across first and foremost from the healthcare professionals, from Ruth and other healthcare professionals that support and endorse Innovo, is the start point to building trust. But then beyond that, there's these great opportunities to partner with credible, authentic spokespeople. And for the Americans in the audience, I'm sure you'll be very familiar with Joan London. She was a TV anchor on Good Morning America for a long time. She's a very strong women's health advocate, and she brings a really authentic and credible voice of education to the brand while her daughter Jamie, who's sitting on the left there, is an actual Lenovo brand user who had a very successful experience. So bringing the brand to life in a very credible and authentic way, and really disrupting the conversation about you just have to live with bladder leaks. And of course, we look at different channels to reach different audiences. We have an audience in menopausal age women. We have an audience in postpartum women. Goop, again, is a very credible source of recommendation. They really do their homework when they endorse brands. And again, this is how we're bringing the brand to life amongst consumers. So ultimately, and just to close, this is what this is all about. It is about delivering a solution for women that has made such a difference to their lives. And I think the more that we can bring our FemTech solutions directly to women, give them access to manage their own health, the more success we'll have. I think I'm probably on about 10 minutes, so I shall leave it there.
Yes, thank you so much, Susan. We did have a question from the audience. Someone had asked how the clinical study was structured, if it was a registry or a survey.
It was actually conducted as a full-scale randomized controlled trial. So it was run by clinics, and it was run in terms of hard metrics like pad weight test is the key metric in terms of incontinence solutions, but also in terms of quality of life. 180 patients.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And if you all want to find any more or connect with Susan, I believe her LinkedIn profile is in the chat as well. Thank you, Susan.
And apologies that I have to jump off, but I will I'll respond to questions via the moderator.